Ever tried sending money across borders and felt like you were mailing a message in a bottle? You drop it in, wait days, and just hope it reaches the right shore. That's remittance. The lifeline that millions of people rely on every day to support families, pay for education, or simply keep the lights on back home. In fact, the World Bank estimates that global remittances reached over $860 billion in 2024, making them one of the biggest financial flows in the world, even larger than foreign aid. But despite this, I think you'll agree that traditional remittance systems still feel stuck in the past. Slow transfers, hidden fees, and exchange rates that mysteriously change overnight. Welcome to Crypto Finally Explained, the crypto learning channel started by BitDegree, where I finally explain blockchain topics using simple analogies, doodles, and real-life examples. In today's video, I'll cover a slightly different subject from our usual crypto-related topics. I'll explain what remittance is, how it works, why it is so popular, common challenges in traditional remittance systems, and how modern platforms like Ogvio can disrupt the whole industry. Alright, with that out of the way, let's get started. Let's get through the basics first. What is remittance? In simple terms, a remittance is money that's sent, usually across countries, from one person to another. This can be migrant workers sending part of their earnings back home to support their families, parents sending funds for their kids' tuition, or businesses paying freelancers from overseas, and many more. Think of it like this. If the global economy were a body, remittances would be almost like its bloodstream. It constantly circulates money between countries, keeping millions of households alive and thriving. There are two main types of remittance you need to be aware of. The first one is personal remittances, where individuals send money directly to someone they know. The other is business remittances, where companies or freelancers transfer payments internationally. So, what's the key point? Remittances are a vital financial connection between people, economies, and opportunities. And to understand how powerful they really are, it helps to see how this practice has evolved over time. If we go back to the remittance definition, it's all about transferring money from one place to another. But the process behind it is more than just tapping send. Every remittance goes through a few key stages, and knowing them helps you see why some transfers take minutes while others take days. Here's what typically happens. The sender starts a transfer through a bank, money transfer operator, or digital app. They enter the recipient's details and choose how much to send. If the receiver uses another currency, the system converts it, often at a rate that includes hidden fees. Then, the money travels through a network of banks or payment partners, which verify and settle the transaction. Finally, the recipient gets the money through a bank account, mobile wallet, or cash pickup location. This sounds simple, but in traditional systems, every step adds friction. I'm talking about extra costs, waiting times, or middlemen. If you ever send money abroad using traditional banks, I'm sure you're familiar with all of these. The thing is, most of these systems were built decades ago, long before instant apps or digital wallets existed. So, while technology has raced ahead, many remittance channels are still crawling. Let's unpack what usually makes them so frustrating. First, the most annoying problem for me personally: fees. Ever notice how sending $200 somehow costs $210 by the time it's done? Between bank charges, intermediary fees, and sneaky conversion markups, traditional transfers can easily eat up 5% to 10% of what you're sending. Then, there's the issue with the waiting. Traditional transfers can take 3 to 5 business days, sometimes longer. And if it's the weekend or a holiday, forget it. That's extra waiting for your family or business partner to actually receive the funds. This next one's sneaky. Many providers boast about low fees, but then quietly adjust the exchange rate, making it unfair to cover the difference. The end result? The receiver gets less than you expected. Also, keep in mind that not everyone has a bank account or lives near a cash pickup center. For millions, just receiving the money can mean traveling long distances or dealing with limited banking hours. Last but not least, tracking international transfers can sometimes feel like trying to follow a paper trail in a storm. You rarely know which bank it's stuck in or when it'll finally land. And honestly, that's just not good enough in a world where we can message someone across the globe in seconds. That's exactly why new platforms like Ogvio are rethinking this flow entirely, using a modern infrastructure to make global transfers instant, transparent, and borderless. So, after hearing all that, you might be thinking, what is this Ogvio you're talking about? Well, let me tell you, it's a soon-to-launch neobank that aims to fix everything that's broken about global money transfers. Instead of waiting days or losing value through hidden fees, Ogvio will let people send and receive funds instantly, transparently, and without the middlemen. Like, imagine this. You open the app, type your friend's tag, and the money lands in their account. You don't need to input any bank details, no Swift codes, no confusion. Transfers between Ogvio users will also be free, and the platform plans to support over 160 countries and 40+ currencies from the start. But here's what I think will really pique your interest. Ogvio will also bridge traditional finance and crypto. That means users will be able to hold, send, and receive both fiat and digital assets like BTC, ETH, and EURC on the base network. That said, if you're interested in more crypto-related videos, I highly recommend checking my channel, where I have plenty of videos covering the topic. And maybe subscribe while you're at it. Ogvio will also implement instant pegging to US dollar or euro, designed to protect your money from inflation. This can be something really important if you live in a country where the local currency value changes fast. And because transparency is at the core of its design, Ogvio will show real-time exchange rates with 0% trading fees, so what you see is what you send. Behind the scenes, it'll secure funds in on-chain vaults, giving users full confidence that their money is protected. In short, Ogvio is aiming to build a new kind of financial ecosystem, one that's global by design, digital by nature, and built for everyone. Now, let's talk about what all that actually means for people who will use Ogvio every day. Because it's one thing to build flashy features, but it's another to make life easier. And that's exactly where Ogvio plans to shine. First off, speed. With Ogvio, transfers will happen almost instantly. No more waiting 3 business days or refreshing your banking app like it owes you an explanation. You'll be able to send money across borders in seconds, whether it's to family, a freelancer, or a friend traveling abroad. Then there's cost. Ogvio aims to make transfers between users completely free while keeping international ones ultra low cost. That means more of your money actually reaches the person you care about, not lost in fees or currency markups. Next is transparency. You'll see exactly how much you're sending, how much they'll receive, and the exchange rate being used, all in real time. No surprise deductions halfway through the process. And let's not forget flexibility. Ogvio will let you send and receive funds however it suits you best, whether you're dealing in dollars, euros, or crypto from one platform. So, there's no need to juggle between banks, wallets, or exchanges. Let me give you an example. Imagine Maria, a nurse working in Germany, sending 200 euros home to her family in the Philippines. Normally, she'd wait days and lose a chunk of that money in transfer fees. But with Ogvio, her family would receive the funds instantly, straight into their account. And the best part? That same system will work for freelancers getting paid, students abroad managing budgets, or travelers splitting bills across currencies. It's simple, fast, and fair, the way remittance should have worked all along. So, how does Ogvio stack up against the competition that fits my remittance definition? If we start with traditional players like Western Union or MoneyGram, they've been the go-to for decades, but at a cost. Their systems still rely on old banking infrastructure, meaning transfers can take days and come with high service fees, especially for smaller amounts or rural destinations. Then there's PayPal, one of the biggest names in digital payments. It's faster than traditional banks, sure, but when it comes to international remittances, those convenience fees can really sting, and I learned it the hard way. PayPal typically charges between 3% to 5% on top of the exchange rate markup, which can make a noticeable dent in what the recipient actually gets. On a $500 transfer, that's easily $20 or more lost in fees before the money even arrives. In some regions, those $20 can cover 2 to 3 people's monthly health insurance cost. Just imagine paying that much just to move your own money. Ogvio, on the other hand, plans to take a completely different approach. Transfers between Ogvio users will be free, and even international transactions will aim to stay low cost with no hidden spreads baked into the exchange rate. You'll see exactly how much you're sending, how much the other person will receive, and what the rate is right there on your screen, in real time. Plus, Ogvio will blend neobank-style convenience with crypto-level transparency through the base network at launch. That combination could make it one of the few platforms offering both a user-friendly design and blockchain-backed openness. Of course, since Ogvio is still preparing to launch, everything depends on how it executes. But if it delivers as promised, it could finally bring us closer to what PayPal was meant to be, a simple, borderless way to send money without losing a chunk of it to fees. Now, let's zoom out for a moment, because remittances are also about moving opportunities. Every time someone sends money back home, that transfer does more than pay bills or tuition. It helps families stay afloat, boosts local businesses, and strengthens entire communities. In some countries, remittances make up a huge part of the national economy. The World Bank estimates they contribute over 10% of GDP in nations like the Philippines and Nepal. That's massive. But here's the catch. When fees eat up 5 to 10% of every transaction, that's billions of dollars that don't reach the people who need it most. It's like someone quietly skimming off the top of global goodwill. That's why making remittance payments faster, cheaper, and more transparent is important, because it's about fairness as much as it is about convenience. The easier it is for people to send money, the more of it goes where it's supposed to, into real homes, real education, and real progress. Platforms like Ogvio will have the potential to amplify that impact. By removing the middlemen and cutting costs, Ogvio could make it possible for millions to send funds instantly and affordably, no matter where they are. That means a nurse in Germany, a student in Canada, or a freelancer in India can all support their loved ones back home without losing a big chunk of their hard-earned money in the process. Now, I hope you can see how easier remittances help move lives forward. Alright, honestly, I can spend hours talking about the nuances of remittance, and a lot of the topics deserve their own videos. But for now, let's finish it off here. We've gone through what remittance actually means, how it works, and why it's so important for millions of families around the world. We've looked at the headaches that come with traditional systems, including the high fees, the delays, and the middlemen. I've also covered how platforms like Ogvio are stepping in to modernize the process. While the remittance definition can be boiled down to as simple as sending money to another person, it's actually far more complex than that. It's also about connection and moving the global economy forward. So, the next time someone asks you what a remittance is, I hope you know the answer. To dive deeper into how new fintechs like Ogvio are shaping the future of global money transfers, consider subscribing to my channel for more videos. If you're interested in knowing more about Ogvio, I've put the link to join the waitlist in the description box below, so make sure to check it out. And with that, thank you for watching and see you in the next video.